Hey traders, John Hall here. Listen, I want to do a bit of a video for a guy called Peter Ortizinger. I think that's how you pronounce your name. And you know, hopefully some things I'm saying is here from my 15 years of being in the markets and trying to do some things that I think you're doing right now, Peter, is hopefully you can be open-minded to share with what I'm trying to teach you right now, all right? But, you know, this is just my opinion. I don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen, but I'm going to talk to you about how to actually put the odds on your side even more. Now, let's actually go through this here. I did a video today, and the video was talking about market crash, what's next, and I talked about basically what's going on next with this video here. So Peter says, gold and silver to the moon. Really? Really? So glad I bought more physical silver a few weeks ago at 1950 AUD. Okay. When totally offensive on shares 21st September. I think you've said that 3 times now on my chat bar. Sorry, John. Just couldn't believe your 29,000 call from the video a week ago. If you do remember, I said in that video, right? I actually said, Peter, that the market's likely to step up. And then a few days later, I said short term will likely get a bit of a pullback. And that's what we got. So this is just nothing but a pullback. Anyway, I'll get to the charts in just a minute. Technicals look so dangerous right now. Okay, I'm not sure what you'd mean by technicals. How the markets work, I'm going to share with you about how the markets work here in a minute. And the technicals, if you know how to read the market without that emotion and trying to pick tops and bottoms, you'll be a much more successful investor, okay? So they don't really look dangerous. The overall stock market still stepping up, and silver and gold. I'll get to silver and gold in just a minute, okay? I've been through 2008, 2009. I have as well too, Peter, and I actually made an absolute fortune because I was just trading what the charts are telling me and not trying to pick and hope and guess and trying to guess and trying to be basically against the market. I went with the market and therefore trade the market. Gamblers and risk takers try to go against what the market is telling them, i.e. trying to short the stock market. Trying to short the stock market right now, overall, investing that is, okay, investing when the market's clearly stepping up, or trying to buy silver and gold right now when they are, okay, I'll get to that in just a minute, okay? I sidestepped major damage this week by not being in the markets. I understand you've been very proud of that, but Peter, remember, if you're trading the markets, you should be only trading when your system says get in, right? Now, for me personally, what I said on the Dow Jones about $29,000 call, I still see 29,000 call. That's why I'm going to still stick to that. Now, the thing is this, right, Peter, is that if you're trading the markets, you don't trade the markets based on what you think is going to be a good idea, what you hope is going to be a good idea. That's not how successful traders trade the markets. So, you know, if you're investing into the market, that's a different thing. If you're investing long term, that's a different thing. But anyway, I appreciate your advice and enthusiasm, but we all have to live and die by our swords when we make investment decisions. Peter, it's really, please, what I'm trying to say here is that it's really, you want to try and leave the emotions out of it and look at what the market's doing for what it really is. Okay. Now let me explain what I mean here. Let me go back to the stock market here for a minute. And if we have a look at this, and I said this in the video today, but I want to share with you again here. If we have a look at the stock market here as an example, the stock market is overall still stair-stepping higher. It hasn't made a topping pattern yet. So Peter, the market hasn't topped out yet. It's just a pullback, just like every other time, just like the start of this year, and now we're just getting another pullback. It's, you know, the thing about trying to pick a top, just like bipolar, right? You may be right 1 time out of 10. What about the other times? What about the other times that you're trying to be right? And again, trading or investing in the markets is never about being lucky, being right. Trading the markets is about following along with the market. And remember, that big picture, that weekly chart is always telling us what's going on. For an example, back here when the whole election was happening, what everyone was saying, stock market crash, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, breaking in previous highs, breaking in previous highs. So the overall big weekly chart is always the king to keep an eye out for on that. If you're looking for investing purposes, that's what I mean. All right, if you're looking, because Peter, I hope you do realize, right, the difference between trying to trade the markets and invest in the markets. Trading is where you're getting in and getting out and trying to generate an income, basically. Investing is that you're long-term buy and hold for whatever. Makes sense? But if you're trying to pick tops and bottoms in the markets, it's very, very, very risky, right? Like right now, you may be right in saying that we were at the top right now. You know, only time will tell. But right now, what are you doing? You're trying to fight the market, right? The overall market is still stair-stepping massively higher. So I wouldn't be trying to fight this market right now. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I don't care about being right in the markets. Because guess what? A successful investor trades based on a formula, right? A successful investor trades or even invests based on a plan. And he knows that even though his plan is so good, that he's still going to be right only a certain amount of times. So if you're getting into the market based on what you think is a good idea, there's no probability in that. And the ego is saying, well, I was right. It's so risky doing that. Now, moving on to silver and gold. I haven't done a lot of silver and gold videos, but I'm going to share with you about what I see here on silver and gold, okay? And please, Peter, if you listen to me, my man, please listen to what I'm trying to say here, okay? I'm going to bring up a weekly chart here for a minute. I'm going to bring up a weekly chart, and I'm going to take everything up the screen here for a minute. And let me just, actually, you know what? I'll bring this chart back up here, right? So I'm going to bring out the weekly chart here for a minute, okay, Peter? And listen to me here for a minute. Right now, what has, again, without your thoughts or opinion, okay, or what you think is going to be a good idea or all that sort of stuff, if we're looking at those long-term charts, or heck, even the short-term charts, let's go over to, say, this one here. If we're looking at the short-term charts, where is the trend right now on silver? Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. We're going through a bit of a resting phase right now, right? Now, if we have a look at the big picture, remember the weekly chart is always king. The weekly chart is always king. Now, remember, trading is never about there's no certainty in a trade. It's all about probability. And the probability is based on how you're trading the markets. And if you're trying to trade against the markets, meaning you're trying to short the stock market right now, that's a very low probability trade. Remember, there's no certainty in any given one trade or investment, and that's why you need to have your stops in place, because you know you only get you're going to have a win-loss ratio. But by looking at silver right now, we just had a very big long sideways phase here, resting phase, and now we've just dropped out, and now we've just had a little rally up. The weekly charts are still massively stepping down, Peter, so I wouldn't want to be trying to buy the market right now, because you're trying to buy the bottom. And I'm telling you right now, Peter, that we have a very, very, very high probability chance of running down below and breaking below the lows here on silver and gold. We got so close. I guarantee there's going to be all these stops down here. So trying to pick the bottom right now is like what Bo Polly's been doing in the stock market and silver and gold for the last 12 months. Okay, it's just not a good idea, because you're getting in based on when you think it's a good idea. And for you to make consistent returns long term, Peter, and for anyone watching this here, it's not about you being right. Us men, throw that bloody ego out the window, right? It's not about you being right. What is it about? It really is just about having a plan, right? So even if you're investing, Peter, you need to have some sort of a setup, some sort of plan that you follow, okay? And not trying to pick the bottom, because right now, if you have a look at where is the strength in the markets right now overall on silver and gold, we have this big, strong selling leg right now, and now we've had this last month of just a small little rally. If you're looking at the market right now and you're looking at it based on this point through here, who is in control? Who's in control? Who's more dominant? Who says, you know what? Fuck out of the way, right? As the Hodge twins say. And I think Peter, that's where you got silver and gold to the moon, right? Because they're saying Bitcoin to the moon. Anyway, That's a different story. Look at what we have here, right? We have this big, strong selling leg down, and we have this very weak buying up. We're trying to buy it right now when you got the overall strength of the trend is going down. We've got momentum on my two moving averages. One's a yearly, one's more like a half yearly. 52 weeks, which is a yearly. And look at this is momentum, the moving averages. The trend is going down. Just don't try and, again, this is not me trying to fight you, Peter. I'm just trying to help you out. And some things that, man, I'm telling you right now, I've lost so much money in the past by trying to do what you're doing right now. You may be right 1 time out of 10. But right now, there's a very, very, very low probability. Don't try and pick tops and bottoms. Wait for the market to turn around. For me personally, yes, I want to buy some silver and gold myself. But guess what? It may be the right time to buy it. It may not be the right time to buy it. And the same with gold as well too. Look at gold, okay, guys? I want you to think about this for a minute here, okay? How does the stock market work? How does the stock market work? It goes for what? It goes for a run and then it has a pullback. It goes for a run and then it has a pullback. It goes for a run and it has a pullback. Now, here we are here. And same on the downside, right? We go for a run and we go for a pullback and we go for a run and we go for a pullback. Now, what happens what happens is that if we go for a run a lot of time through here, what do we do now? We're due for what? We're due for a pullback. But does that mean the trend has changed? No, it doesn't, right? Lower highs, and lower highs still in place. Make sense? So what we're seeing right now on gold, as you can see, right? Again, if you're trying to invest right now for the long term right now, it may be the right time. But there's no momentum, there's no trend change, and the market's telling us right now, we've had this big, strong selling leg down for quite some time, so we're due for a pullback. That's all it is, it's just a pullback. And until we start to make major highs and major lows, the market is in a one big, massive downward trend. And trying to pick the bottom right now is very, 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 very risky. Again, it sounds like to me, Peter, that you're trying to pick the bottom. I'll give you an example here. Right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just bringing up the Bitcoin chart. And and Peter and anyone else watching this video, please hear me out, okay? I'm trying to help you, and I know a lot of the people who trade Bitcoin or are trying to pick the bottom in Bitcoin for quite some time. They're missing this one major piece, and I know this sounds so simple, but please hear me out. And this is why I'm talking about the same with silver and gold right now. Let's actually go back to what this is the daily chart, right? Not much going on. And guess what, Peter? Or guess what? I guarantee everyone that saw these bounces through here, bounce. Guess what? Even this big bounce through here, right? They're like, oh, the market's going to head up. If they're trying to buy Bitcoin and think it's going to go back to 20,000. But remember what I said before, right? What does that weekly chart tell us? Let's go back to that long-term weekly chart again. And again, let's not think, let's actually just follow what the weekly charts are telling us, because we do have bounces, we do have pullbacks. What has this weekly chart been doing ever since? And I know this sounds simple, Peter, and I know this sounds simple to a lot of people out there, but please hear me out, okay? If you're looking for investing purposes, wait for the things to turn around first. You had a lower high here. Right, what do we have here? We had a lower high. Then the market ran up. Yes, we had a little relief rally. This may be what we're experiencing right now in silver and gold. And then we have another lower high. And then we had a low here. And then we had another lower high. And now another lower high. So literally for the last 12 months, every time this has been rallying through here, people have been getting excited about the next bull run is about to come. And they've been saying that for the last 12 months. That's 6,000. 6,000 is the floor and all that sort of stuff. And guess what Bitcoin's doing right now? It's back down again, right? And if we go back to the daily charts, and again, guys, please, I'm not having a go at Bitcoin here. I'm not having a go at the stock market or silver and gold, or I'm not saying you shouldn't long-term buy. If you're one of these people that you're buying right now for the next 10 years, you know what, you may be right. Like that's not what this is all about. But if you're looking to maybe trying to time the market so you can get in, maybe before it starts to trend up, all that sort of stuff, then that's what this is all about. So as you can see, right, every single time we got these rallies, they were sold into. Why? Because that weekly chart was completely going down. The thing that my mentor always says is that never trade against that weekly chart. Now, if you're trading the markets, that is, if you're trying to trade Bitcoin or even trying to buy Bitcoin right now, it's so much more higher probability to wait for these charts, i.e. that weekly chart, to turn around first, to start giving us a run. For me, yes, I want to buy some Bitcoin as well too, but look, what am I looking for? I'm looking for something like this, a higher high, breaking of the previous highs, and then a higher low, breaking of the previous high. And then I'm looking to get into here with a stop below here. Right? Now, what a lot of people try to do, they try to get into here, right? They try to pick the bottom or get into here or get into here or get into here or get into here or get into here. Right? They try to pick the bottom and then they keep going down, right? For me, I want to see that chart turn around first. And I hope you can see, based on what I'm seeing through here on Bitcoin, on this weekly chart, and I'm looking on this daily chart right now, it's not looking, and we've had this rally now, and now we're getting this big, strong selling movement through here. It's not looking good for the bulls right now. Like, people are still trying to buy Bitcoin right now when clearly it's been knocking down. If we get a big drop down here on Bitcoin, we could be heading back down to, say, 4,000 here now. A 2,000 point drop. Because what? The overall trend is still what? Down. So don't try and fight that. Same with back to silver and gold. Look at this thing here. We've made a high low. We're breaking back down, a big strong run down. And when the market does so much price like this, guess what? The market's due for a pullback. It's not the bottom in the market. When you're trading the market, stop trying to pick the tops and bottoms. So if you look at the market as a whole here, let me bring this up. If you look at the market as a whole here, I'm going to draw a bit of analogy through here. Lower high, rally up, high low, lower high. Okay, so what I'm trying to share with you here is this, okay? When trying to get into the markets, so many people try to what? They try to pick the tops and bottoms in the markets, don't they? They say, okay, they're going through, you know, they try to buy it through here, or they try to buy it through here. What I like to do is, if I'm looking to long-term buy and hold something, I want to see this thing completely turn around first. I want to see complete turnaround first, especially from that weekly perspective, right? So I want to see a nice little higher high and higher low. I want to get into here and I want to ride it up to here and get 80% of the move instead of be right 8 times out of 10. There's no such thing as being right in the market anyway. Who cares about being right? Because it's all about probability, right? I know 8 times out of 10 this will work, and you know the other 2 won't work. But, you know, and then what are people doing all the way up here, right? They're trying to short the top. Wait for the market to what? Drop down to create a lower low and a lower high first, and breaking our previous lows to start what? To start possibly the next downward trend. If you look at the stock market, that's how it all works. That's exactly how it all works when you're trying to do that. So, anyway, guys, I hope that this video really helps you out when it comes to trading the markets and trading what you're looking at here. Again, this is not saying, I'm not telling you what to do right now. I'm just telling you how the markets work. And I hope that this video gives you some sense. And for people that are watching this video, I hope this gives you some guidance of some simple things, the most powerful things you should be focusing on, and not this garbage of trying to pick the bottoms and tops in the markets.